Hi everyone, it's Rico here, and today I'm playing some Batman Arkham City, and I'm going to show you how to get one of the other rare achievements in the game, so to speak. This achievement is called the Storyteller achievement, where you have 12 murderous dates with a villain who appears in the game known as Calendar Man. This achievement has only been earned by 0.8% of players on Steam, and one of the reasons for that is that there's a bit of hoops that you have to jump through to complete this, because you actually have to meet this character on 12 days throughout the year that he's chosen. These aren't just any days. He picks days of significance, such as holidays, for example, Christmas or Halloween, or even there was a case where he picks a pretty obscure one in August, at the Day of Dogs or something like that. So you'll find this villain in this building that we've just entered, the Solomon Wayne Courthouse. And he'll be in the basement here, in a cell on the far right. He will be in this room. So as you can see, I've actually completed this achievement, and he's no longer here for the rest of the game, and instead there's a dead body in the cell. Poor guy. And on this calendar, there are mostly circled the 12 days on which you need to come and visit this character and speak with him, or rather, get him to speak with you, because you're Batman and you don't really say anything unless it's really badass. So one important thing to note about this calendar is that not all the dates are circled correctly, or maybe the date that the game expects you to appear. And these dates that are circled shift based on the year you're in, because there are holidays such as Labor Day and Mother's Day, which, well, I'm not sure about Mother's Day, but Labor Day I do know, where the date on which the holiday occurs will change because it's dependent on a specific day within the month, day of the week within the month, rather than an actual number. So, for example, Labor Day occurs on September 2nd in 2013, and in 2014 it's on September 1st. And you'll see later in the video that this caused a bit of problem because the game didn't seem to register that correctly, or the programmers might have made a mistake, and I couldn't get it to work, so I had to use the 2014 date. Now, one other thing to note about this is this is a PC video. I'm actually playing this right now on Steam, as you already saw earlier, the Steam in-game overlay. And I haven't seen any videos on YouTube for getting this achievement on the PC through Steam, so that's one reason I made this video, to show you how to do that. So I'll show you all the steps that you need to do, because there are two ways to get this achievement. One is very impractical, which you'll never use, hopefully, which is actually playing this game on the special 12 days of the year and visiting the character. The other way, which is a bit sneakier, and the manner in which an engineer would do it, involves actually manipulating the settings of your computer to trick the game into thinking you're playing it on different days. So, let's begin.
Days have September, April, June, and November. You know, I always feel a little lonesome in November. I think that's because even the worst of us enjoy a good old-fashioned family Thanksgiving. I know I did a few years back when I dropped in unannounced on Turkey Day. All those surprised faces around the table. Mom and Dad could hardly believe it. Mind you, I don't know whose mom and dad they were. I was on the run and needed a place to lay low.
Wow, what a douchebag.
That family, whoever they were, could certainly cook. Stuffing and gravy and pumpkin pie to die for. Unfortunately, they did. Like I said, always feel lonesome in November.
Alright, so it looks like that worked. So let's go to the next date here, the 25th, which is Christmas Day. So one of the important things that you need to make sure that you do when you're trying to get this achievement is you have to save your game. And to do that, you just go to a new area. So in this case, I'm going to walk outside. So you'll notice there's a little save icon that pops up in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It's that little circle right there. You have to make sure that that finishes. If that doesn't finish, you risk corrupting your save game. And I'm not sure how bad that will affect you, but we don't want to find out. So I think it's safe to say that the save worked. So now I'm going to go back to desktop and change the time once more. Remember, Alt-Tab is the key that you use to do that. Alright everybody, so right now I'm going to show you how you go about changing your time settings, which is a requirement for getting this achievement, because you have to set it to the correct time. So here we have, this is just the current date, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in the taskbar in the date and time section. I'm just going to right click that. I'm going to select adjust date time. Remember, this is Windows 8. It might be slightly different in a different version of Windows. For example, Windows 7 might be different, and I'm not on Windows 8.1 yet, so it might even be different there. So just keep that in mind. Now you click, the first thing you should do for working on this is you should select the Internet Time tab, go to Change Settings, and uncheck this box for synchronizing with Internet Time Server. That way you don't have to worry about your system automatically setting your time back to the correct time in the middle of doing this. So that's done. Now you actually go and change the date to whatever you need it to be. So in this case, we could change it to the 25th for Christmas. And then you would just select OK, then you would hit OK, and as you can see, the time here is now the 25th of 2013, of December of 2013. So remember to actually, when you're done with all of this, and you've gotten the achievement, you just need to go back to the Internet Time tab, check this box back, click OK, and you don't really have to do this, but you might as well just change it back to the date if you know it. So in this case, I know it's actually Sunday, November 3rd. So you select OK, and there you go. That is what you need to do as far as changing your system settings. And then for getting back in the game, just remember you use the Alt-Tab key. As you can see in this case, I'm just recording this video, so the game's not running. And that's what you do. Alt-Tab back into the game, and return. Alright, here we go. So now Calendar Man should talk to you about Christmas.
30 days has November, April, June, and September.
And you'll see here that the board has been crossed out for November because we've successfully completed
of course,
visiting him on that day.
Leap year comes and stays.
Since we moved
every 4 years, got it right. Ebenezer Scrooge was a saint compared to old Judge Harkness. Remember him, Batman? Gotham's hanging judge, they called him. Even though the state had ruled me insane, Harkness swore he'd send me to the gallows. So you see, it was all a simple act of self-preservation. I could hardly be held responsible for strangling that street corner Santa Claus for his suit. I needed the disguise to sneak into the judge's Christmas Eve party. Harkness thought it was all in fun, until St. Nick caught him around the neck with a string of Christmas lights. The cops found him later, hanging from the elaborate light display of his own roof. Judgy almost looked like a cartoon himself, alongside the comical reindeer, elves, and snowmen. I call that murder my Christmas special.
That was dark. Alright, so the next date that we need is, of course, course, New Year's, January 1st. So when we come back, this column here for December will be scratched out, just like it is for November.
30 days hath September, April,
Let's see what
June,
Calendar Man
and
has to say
November.
about
All the
New Year's
rest
Eve,
have 31.
or even just New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. Should old acquaintance be forgot and all that. I made sure she wouldn't forget me that day, didn't I, Batman? It was the first New Year's party I'd been invited to in a long time. But then, I wasn't really invited, was I? The restraining order saw to that. Still, she and I had been close, or so I believed. And a new year means a new start. I admit, stepping into a crowded ballroom with a flamethrower was a bit dramatic. But what better way to melt the ice at a party? Perhaps she should have taken that cup of kindness from me when I first offered.
Okay. December is scratched out, as you can see, and the next day is in February 14th, which I actually don't remember what that is. But
30 days.
we will have to switch the date to that.
30 days has November, April, June, and September of 28. Valentine's Day. Hearts and flowers. The perfect occasion to smother my new love with tokens of affection. I chose a dozen red roses, an assortment of truffles, and a darling little lacy thing. Excuse me, I didn't mean to be so intimate. You might say I'd overdone it. And in truth, at that point, my love and I had not actually met. Ever the romantic, I followed her to her apartment. Loudly proclaiming my love, I drowned out her screams of protest. Sadly, it was not to be. So instead of smothering her with gifts, I simply smothered her. March 17th, the day set aside for St. Patrick, the holy man who drove the snakes from Ireland. Interesting thing about snake venom, Batman. Some are green, just like the dye used to make green beer. That made it all the easier when I hosted that St. Patty's Day party for my old gang. As you remember, one of my henchmen tried to tip you off. I wasn't sure which one had done it, so I decided to punish them all. 1 dose of green mamba venom into the beer keg, and they were soon rotting under the shamrocks. So I guess that makes you responsible for their deaths, too. I'll drink to that. April, June, and September of 28 is but one. All the rest... Well, Batman. You listened well. You appear to understand the importance of dates, don't you? Let me tell you about this day of fools. I remember clearly that I watched her for days, waiting for the perfect moment. It was cold that March. It felt like spring would never come. They drank coffee, and she confessed her life lacked surprises. For 6 more days, I watched. April 1st, 5:22 a.m. I finished cutting through the brake lines of her car. From the camera I placed on her dash, I saw her panic. My only regret, she couldn't hear me yell, "Surprise."
Alright, so I found an interesting problem, and that's that
30 days
in 2013, the date marked on the calendar for Mother's Day in May,
All the rest have 31.
in the game
Except
is
for
May
February
13th.
alone,
However,
which we
the actual
date.
date should be May 12th. So whoever's circling these
Leap
dates
gives us
did that
29.
correctly. bit of bad programming there.
M was for the murderous look she gave me. O meant only she was weak and old. T is for her terror as she fought me. H is for her heart that I now hold. E is for her eyes swiftly dimming. R means rot, and soon rotting she will be. Put them all together, they spell mother, a word that means a corpse to me. Happy Mother's Day, Mommy.
Right, so hopefully June 16th is still a correct date. We will find out. But just for Mother's Day in May in 2013, remember that it's actually May 12th and not May 13th like the calendar suggests.
I wasn't real close to my dad, and after my first internment at Arkham, he never spoke at all. It seems he wrote me off as a wacko, a loser. So, after I was released, I wanted to clear the air between us. Next Father's Day, I dropped by his place and suggested we go fishing. You ever go fishing with your pop? Well, it's some fun, let me tell you. The two of us out on the water, pulling in one whopper after another. Of course, I was doing the actual pulling. Dad was baiting the hooks. You know, with a finger, a foot, an eye. Whatever I had left of him. Even today, whenever I eat a nice piece of fish, I feel closer to my dear old dad.
That is some fucked up shit. Alright, next day is obviously going to be July 4th. And when we come back, June will be scribbled out. And we'll only have a few more left of these murderous
April, June, and
descriptions
September
from this guy.
of 28.
3 after this.
Explosives planted at every exit and beneath this cell itself. What better way to celebrate Independence Day? My independence, of course, from Arkham. Unfortunately, I decided to be clever about it and had a calendar sent to police headquarters with the month of July ripped out. You figured it out right away and arrived just as the fireworks were starting. You stopped me from escaping, but not before the fire swept through the intensive care ward. But then, what's the 4th of July without a barbecue?
Alright, so the next date is August 16th.
Do you remember that wonderfully hellish August, Batman? Packs of mad dogs swarming the furnace-hot streets, savaging everyone in their path. One bite, and humans were reduced to crazed animals themselves. Good times. Though Crane provided me with the hydrophobia formula, I had the presence of mind to release the hounds on August 16th, the feast day of St. Roach, patron saint of dogs. An obscure date, I know, but I couldn't imagine a better way to celebrate the dog days of summer.
Huh, never heard of that date. Alright. Next one is September 2nd, which is Labor Day.
Early September. Kids headed back to school, leaves starting to turn, and best of all, Labor Day. Like the year I posed as a construction laborer and drove a bulldozer through the gold exchange. Or the year I referenced the labors of Hercules and released lions, bulls, and wild boars upon Gotham. Better than a circus. Even you have to admit last Labor Day was my most inspired. Laying siege to that hospital maternity ward? You labored mightily yourself that day. Saved every one of them. Well, there's always next year.
Last date, people. Here we go.
Days have September,
The achievement
April,
should pop up,
June, and November.
as this is
All
the
the
last.
rest have 31. Boo! Funny thing, Halloween in Arkham.
There it is.
It seems redundant here. Within these walls, the monsters are on display year-round. Of course, there was that one year Joker led a breakout on All Hallows Eve. What a wonderful night. Costumed revelers innocently partying alongside killers and fiends. Of course, the real screams came when it was time to unmask. Trick or treat.
Alright, that was all the steps that you needed to do to get this achievement, as well as all the dialogues that Calendar Man will enlighten you with about his murderous adventures on specific days in the year. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be making a few more for other difficult and not commonly earned achievements in the game. So, have fun, and I'll catch you later.